Ecosystem, its meaning, characteristics and importance. Meaning of ecosystem. An ecosystem is a group of organisms living together in a specific environment. Ecosystems are usually seen to be definite discrete systems, but they may be permeable to outside influences. An ecosystem is a community of plant, animal, birds and other organisms, as well as the vitamins and mineral and energy sources that keep them alive. In an ecosystem, all of the organisms and the environment can be highly dependent on each other and can affect each other proudly. Understanding ecosystem enables us to understand the organisms that live within them. The whole of planet Earth may itself be brought of us one giant ecosystem, where all organisms live together and interact as a part of a global system. There are various different types of ecosystem. Usually these are divided into two categories. Ecosystem underwater, these are called aquatic ecosystem. Ecosystem on land, these are called terrestrial ecosystem. But marine and aquatic ecosystem can also be divided into two various different kind. Divided up into various different kinds, such as freshwater ecosystem, the fish, plants and birds that live in river and lake. Marine ecosystem under the sea. One example of terrestrial ecosystem is a desert ecosystem, where desert creatures have evolved to live with each other and with their desert environment. Characteristics. Do you want to learn more about ecosystem? Below you will find out some of the characteristics of ecosystem. A closed system. Through it may be permeable to outside influences. An ecosystem can be part of a relatively self-contained system. Interdependence. The organisms that live in an ecosystem are dependent on each other, and their actions and life impact on each other's lives. Dynamic. Ecosystems are able to change and evolve. In needed evolution is one reason why we have distinct ecosystem in the first place. Adapted. The organism in an ecosystem had adapted to their environment. They live in such a way as to draw the most benefit from the environment. Fragile. Many ecosystems are considerably fragile when faced with global warming, pollution and other human-made problems in the world. One example is the marine ecosystem of the Great Barrier Reef. The precious and ancient coral in this reef is now visibly dying out due to human pollution. Beautiful. The organism in various ecosystems have a beauty of their own, not just taken as individual but also in their interaction with other organisms in the ecosystem. Many scientists and biologists find the delicate balance of organism in an ecosystem to be something very beautiful in its own right, and in needed this can be a key reason why girls and boys decided to study science at school and university and to become biologists as adults. Importance of ecosystem are all responsible for keeping the planet as a whole in balance. Animal and other life forms can only thrive if the ecosystem are thriving as a whole, and we live of humans are very much dependent on the life of all of the ecosystem in the planet. Through ecosystem can be through of a distinct system, they are also all connected with earth and other and if one ecosystem start to fail, this can have a repercussion on other ecosystem all across the world. Ecosystem are very important for many reasons. Below you will find 7 reasons why ecosystems are so important. First, biodiversity. All the million of species that exist on planet Earth are sustained by their particular ecosystem. Ecosystems are thus important place for ensuring that biodiversity continues on this planet. Second, evolution. Organisms with an ecosystem have evolved to subsist within that ecosystem. For example, marine animals have evolved to live in the sea. Third, interconnectedness. The organism is in any given ecosystem are usually highly interconnected. For example, the relationship may be one of predator and prey or it may be a bird whose dropping adds nutrition to the soil, enabling different plants and trees to flourish there. As such, it is important to understand that no species exist in total isolation. Rather, their habit and biology are shaped by the ecosystem in which they live. The interconnectedness is actually the person of for some of the flamboyant colors and behaviors that we see in many of the world's species that need to stand out completely with an ecosystem has led to the elaborate mating dances of spider, for instance, and the gorgeous plumb of bird for self-sustaining. The delicate balance of organism with an ecosystem help to keep the ecosystem going. For example, you might think that removing one species of insect from a forest ecosystem would do not harm, but the presence of those insects would have been sustaining vast number of birds and pollinating vast number of flower trees and shrubs in the ecosystem. Without the insect, the ecosystem would not survive. Fifth, a member of the wild world. Watching how ecosystem work in a perfect balance can remind human of the fact that nature has its own rule and that we interfere with the working of nature at a great risk. This is why it is worthwhile is listen to the opinion of biologists on how humans ought much to behave in order to preserve the planet for future generation. Observing an ecosystem and understanding that as human we are also organism living with an ecosystem can give us some useful perspective about our place within the world rather than purely autonomous being. We are deeply connected to the other organism around us. 6. Regulating the climate. The respiration of forest ecosystem and the ability of insects to pollinate the wide swaths of flower meadows means that many ecosystems help to regulate the amount of carbon in your climate. In addition, many types of ecosystems protect the earth against extreme weather. Forests provide a barrier to floods and storms and also prevent the soil for being eroded by the rain. Without the ecosystem that we have now, the world would be made up very different landscape, many of them barren. 7. Source of food and fuel. Plant are fruits are key source energy. Rice is a stable food throughout much of the world. For example, whilst many crops can be used for biomass fuel, used responsibly, the food and fuel that we get from nearby ecosystem and can provide us with sustainable solution to all of your energy needs. Conclusion: it is critical to nourish all the ecosystem on the planet and not to interfere in them in an ignorant or destructive manner. Whatever kinds of ecosystem that we live by, they should be treated with care and respect. This is because they are critical for maintaining biodiversity, for providing us with food and fuel, and also for regulating the landscape and the climate. What kind of ecosystem are in existence near to where you live? Are they thriving or are they experience problem? What would you do to help promote healthy ecosystem in your area and around the world in general? The world ecosystem are complex, beautiful and vitally important phenomena. Safeguarding them is a responsibility that the world ecosystem are complex, beautiful and vitally important phenomena. Safeguarding them is a responsibility that belongs to us all.